Businessman explores open safe, but the maid's amazing reaction revealed hidden truths. Jack Thompson was ready to grasp his American dream with both hands. The paperwork for the deal that would shoot him into the upper echelon of Chicago's business elite was spread out before him, each signature a key to the riches and status he had chased for so long. Yet, as he stood at the precipice of his dreams, doubt clawed at him. His family's voices echoed in his mind, warning him that success often comes wrapped in the betrayal of one's roots. They saw his ambition as a thorn in their simple lives, an affront to the family values that had shaped him. The attic called to him that afternoon, a time-worn sanctuary of memories. The neglected brown safe was cloaked in layers of dust, an ancient tomb of family history. He needed to reconnect with where he came from. With his loyal maid Maria by his side, he ventured to the attic, curiosity bubbling inside him. Together, they pried open the rusty lock, and immediately, a wave of stale air rushed out, like the ghosts of the past trying to escape. As Maria sifted through the dusty contents, she gasped. "Oh, look at this." Her fingers delicately traced the edge of a childhood photograph, his mother, smiling broadly, her arms draped around a much younger Jack. The sight tugged at his heartstrings, a jolt of warmth tempering the cold ambition he'd wrapped around himself. "Your mother was so proud of you," Maria whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Jack's chest tightened. He had spent countless hours dreaming of wealth, and in that moment, he was reminded of the pride that once filled his parents' eyes. But then, as they continued to unearth trinkets and letters filled with faded ink, Maria's expression shifted. "I remember similar letters from home," she murmured, almost to herself. His heart raced. Maria, a relentless immigrant who had built a life from scratch, had her own dreams. "My family sacrificed so much," she trailed off, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Jack's heart sank. Here was this woman, who cleaned his home, who cared for his family, and who had her own story of struggle that mirrored his. A bond of shared hardship unfurled between them as they uncovered mementos of resilience, their lives woven together by the needle of ambition, but on opposite sides of a widening chasm. Just then, a loud knock on the attic door jolted them. Jack's brother burst in, panting. "What are you doing up here? You've got a deal to finalize." In that moment, everything hung in the air. The safe, the memories, and Maria's heart-wrenching secret flipped like cards in a poker game, revealing bluffs and truths. Jack stood frozen, caught between a future drenched in gold and a past he felt slipping through his fingers. What was the cost of this dream? Could pursuing his ambition mean severing the ties to the very people who believed in him? Questions whirled in his mind. A storm raged within him, and with it, he felt an unshakable pull toward redefining what it meant to succeed. But in that attic, with the ghosts of his past daring him to remember, a question echoed louder than all others: what if chasing his dreams meant losing his heart? The tension in the attic thickened as Jack's brother loomed in the doorway, impatience radiating from him like heat off asphalt. "You can't waste time up here, Jack. You've got everything riding on this deal," he urged, a hint of desperation coloring his voice. Jack's heart raced, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. The laughter of his childhood echoed in his ears, haunted by the shadows of lost dreams. Every piece of dust floating in the air felt heavy with unspoken truths, weighing him down. His eyes flicked between the pile of memories in front of him and his brother's urgent gaze, a tug-of-war for his attention. "Wait." Jack finally managed to say, his voice sounding foreign amidst the tidal wave of chaos. "This is important." He turned back to Maria, who stood there with a mix of hope and hesitation written across her face. "These things, they matter. I need to understand where I came from before I can decide what comes next." His brother's eyebrows shot up, disbelief washing over his features. You think digging through old boxes will help your future? It's just junk. No, it's not junk. Jack's voice rose, surprising even himself. The passion behind the words carried the weight of years spent chasing something: wealth, status, recognition, but always yearning for connection. These are pieces of my family, my history. I need to know who I am before I dive into this world of deals and ambition. Maria, encouraged by his words, stepped forward, her eyes glistening. Jack, see this letter? She held up a faded paper, marked by time yet alive with meaning. It's from my mother. She often wrote to me about her dreams for our family, how we left everything behind for a chance at a better life. Jack swallowed hard. The boundaries of their lives felt suddenly thin, intertwined in a way he hadn't anticipated. Your dreams, they're not so different from mine. Exactly, she said softly, admiration in her voice. But sometimes, we lose sight of what that means. The gravity of her words hit him, a lightning bolt illuminating the shadows that had clouded his vision. Was success really worth trading meetings for memories? A rush of clarity flooded his mind. Let us read these letters together, he said, the decision echoing inside him like a drumbeat. Let it remind us of what truly matters. As they huddled together, the world outside faded away. They both had tales woven from the same fabric of dreams and sacrifices, woven into a rich tapestry of hopes and losses. Jack felt a shift, a connection sprouting from the roots of their shared struggles. His brother, still looming in the doorway, crossed his arms. This is a mistake, he mumbled, shaking his head. But Jack barely noticed, captivated by the stories unfolding before him. Hour by hour, memories flowed. Each letter offered a glimpse into lives filled with ambition and love. They laughed, cried, and felt the weight of truths that had lingered for too long. In that attic, Jack realized that ambition fueled by connection might lead him somewhere far more meaningful than just fortune, but then, a new thought sparked within him, a challenge that whispered questions he hadn't dared ask before. What if, instead of chasing an ideal, he forged a path that honored both family and ambition? As the sun set, painting the attic in warm hues, he turned to Maria. I want to change direction. I want to build something that brings both of our stories together. Before Maria could respond, the sounds of the door creaking open startled them both. Jack's heart seized as more footsteps echoed from below, his father's slow approach heard from the staircase. The man who had shaped his values and instilled in him a fierce belief in hard work was coming. Jack felt a rush of anxiety mingle with resolve. Would he be able to bridge the chasm between family loyalty and ambition? Could he embrace the dreams that felt so far away? As the door clicked open, Jack took a deep breath. The moment of truth approached, and with it, the reckoning of his past and future. What would he be willing to sacrifice to keep his heart intact? Jack stood at the precipice of uncertainty, every heartbeat echoing in his ears. With his father's footsteps drawing closer, he braced himself for the whirlwind of emotions that would surely follow. The door swung open, revealing his father, a rugged figure with weary eyes that seemed to carry the burden of 1,000 responsibilities. Jack, what are you doing up here? His father's voice was gruff, laced with concern that grounded him in reality. You should be getting ready for the meeting. This is important for your future. We're sorting through some old things, Dad, Jack replied, his voice steady, yet shaking on the edges. He gestured toward the boxes surrounding him. I think there is something valuable here, more than just past memories. His father frowned, stepping further into the attic. This isn't the time for nostalgia. You have a chance to make a name for yourself. That's what matters. Yet beneath his stern facade, Jack caught a flicker of something: fear, perhaps, or longing. Jack exchanged a glance with Maria, her eyes wide, sensing the impending storm. But Dad, are we defined only by our ambitions? What about the stories that shape us? The challenge hung in the air, thick and palpable. His father's expression hardened. Those stories one T put food on the table. But the conflict in his gaze told another story. It hinted at a past Jack had always wondered about but never had the courage to unearth. I get it, Dad. You worked hard for everything we have. But I think it's time for all of us to redefine what success means, Jack said, each word more confident than the last. I want to know our history, our roots. I want to honor what you and Mom have built while also forging my own path. The silence stretched like a taut string, each person holding their breath as they stood on the edge of something vital. Jack's father's face softened ever so slightly, revealing a glimpse of the man beneath the armor of expectations. His shoulders dropped, and for a fleeting moment, Jack saw a father eager to share a truth he had kept close for too long. I wasn't he always this, focused on work, his father finally said, his voice lower now, tinged with vulnerability. I had dreams once too. Dreams I pushed aside to make sure you boys had everything you needed. What were they? Jack whispered, a mix of curiosity and excitement bubbling within him. Here was a chance to connect, to unearth layers beneath the familiar structure of their lives. His father hesitated, glancing at the boxes stacked high and dusty, then back at Jack and Maria, as if weighing the risk of revisiting the past. Dreams of travel, of writing. I wanted to be a storyteller too. But I thought I had to choose. Jack could feel the room shift, the weight of untold stories settling among them. You still can, Dad. Maybe we can create something together, bring those dreams back to life. His father's eyes widened, a mixture of astonishment and suppressed hope flickering within. The atmosphere bristled with possibility, the attic suddenly feeling more expansive, filled with echoes of laughter and dreams long tucked away. What do you have in mind? He asked cautiously, his voice barely above a whisper. Before Jack could respond, Maria chimed in. We can make a collection, a book about your stories intertwined with Jack's ideas. Our stories, your history. They matter, just like you said. The tension in the room began to melt, a cautious bond forming amid the fragmented lines of their existence. You really think so? His father's voice was warmer now, like the first rays of sunlight piercing through the clouds. Absolutely, Jack said, a spark igniting within him. This is about revealing who we truly are together. But just as hope blossomed, the distant echo of a phone ringing shattered the moment. Jack's brother, too impatient to wait any longer, demanding attention in the world outside. Would this fragile moment of connection withstand the pressure threatening to pull them back apart? As the shrill sound faded, Jack faced his father. Let us not lose this. We can't let the world swallow us whole again. The stakes were higher than ever. Jack felt the weight of expectation pressing down, but somehow, the thrill of possibility buoyed him. Would his family embrace this new vision, or retreat back into a realm of ambition and missed chances? The next few moments could alter everything. Would they seize the opportunity, or would Jack be forced to choose between honoring his past and pursuing his future? As he glanced at Maria, a shared determination sparked between them. In that attic, the corners filled with light and shadows, they were on the brink of revelation. But the struggle for balance was just beginning. Jack's heart raced. The echo of the phone rang in his ears, a reminder that outside their attic sanctuary, the world kept spinning, indifferent to their moment of honesty. His thoughts were a whirlwind as he took a step closer to his father. He held the space between them with urgency, as if the very air might shatter at any moment. Let us just listen, Jack urged, his voice steady. Whoever it is can wait. We can't let an opportunity slip through our fingers again. His father's gaze drifted toward the closed door. Jack saw uncertainty etched on his face, a father's duty battling with a man who once had the dreams to inspire stories. The tension lingered like fog, thick and sticky, pulling at them. Finally, his father exhaled, his shoulders sagging under the weight of unspoken words. All right. Let us talk, he said, quiet yet resolute. As this shift began to unfold, Jack felt a surge of courage. Have you ever written anything down, any stories or thoughts? He envisioned a treasure trove of memories ready to be poured onto the page, waiting to be brought to life. Yes, his father admitted, his eyes softening. I started a few times, but I never finished. Life got in the way. What if we helped each other? We both have stories, Dad. Yours might be the foundation of ours. His father's hands trembled slightly, fingers curling around the edge of a box filled with old notebooks. I don't know if I remember how to share them. Then let us rediscover it together. Maria chimed in, her enthusiasm tangible. It's not just about you, it's about all of us, your dreams and our futures intersecting. Jack could feel the momentum building, the family encroaching on a breakthrough that had eluded them all these years. You taught us so much about hard work and ambition, Jack continued, but maybe we can teach each other about dreams too. With a hesitant smile, his father slowly reached for a notebook. Dust danced in the shaft of light filtering through the window as he lifted the cover. All right, I'll share. But no promises, okay? Just share what you feel, Jack encouraged, his heart swelling at the thought of these hidden stories finally being released. This is a safe space. The atmosphere shifted again, thick with anticipation as Jack's father flipped through the pages, recounting fragments of his life, flashes of dreams and desires long buried under layers of duty. There were sketches of intriguing places he longed to visit and sentences written about characters he had imagined living remarkable adventures. As his father opened up, Jack's fingers twitched, aching for a pen and paper to capture the essence of what was unfolding. It was more than just stories, it was healing, but moments like this are fragile, and as the tales flowed, there was a glance exchanged between Maria and Jack. In that fleeting second, dread slithered in. Would this sharing turn into a confrontation? Would the resurfacing memories challenge everything they believed about their father? What is this? Jack's father said suddenly, his finger resting on a particular passage that made his brow furrow. Maria leaned closer, intrigued. What does it say? Jack watched closely as his father's face turned pale, a wave of realization washing over him. The words of the past could either break them apart or weave them closer together. As silence engulfed the room, Jack sensed that they were modern-day explorers, standing on the threshold of a discovery that could change everything or trigger an avalanche of buried truths. Would they have the strength to face what lay ahead? Jack took a breath, heart hammering. Dad, what's in that story? We're here to listen. The moment hung there, the air electric with anticipation. Would the next revelation bring them together or pull them apart? Jack's father inhaled sharply, drawing attention back to the page. The room felt dense with tension, each second stretching into eternity as he struggled to find his voice. It's about a choice, the one I didn't make. Jack exchanged a quick glance with Maria, uncertainty written across their faces. A choice? Maria finally asked, her voice quiet, coaxing. Yeah, his father replied, his tone wobbling. It was a story about a man who had to decide between his family and chasing his dreams. He thought he could do both, but in the end his voice trailed off, a hint of regret shimmering in the air. Jack leaned in, willing the words to flow uninterrupted. But what happened, Dad? Did he stay? Did he leave? His father cleared his throat, eyes misting over as if battling a flood of memories. He left. He pursued his dreams, and while he achieved great things, he lost so much along the way. It was a hard realization, one that continues to gnaw at him. The weight of his father's words hit Jack hard. The man in the story could just as easily be his father. Do you regret it? Jack asked softly, his heart aching for the uncharted feelings hovering in the room. There was a shimmer of pain in his father's eyes. Sometimes. I wish I could have been there more. But I convinced myself it was necessary. He glanced at the pages again, as if they held the answers to questions he hadn't fully asked. The atmosphere warped, heavy with emotions. Maria's hand found Jack's, their fingers intertwining, offering each other invisible strength. They could sense the cascading truths ready to spill. What if we flipped the script? Maria's voice was steady, filled with the hope of a new dawn. What if this is not your end, but just the start of something new? His father looked almost startled. "What do you mean?" "We're here," she said, squeezing Jack's hand for emphasis. "You've shared with us a glimpse of your past, but what if it's time to rewrite the present? We can create together instead of being bound by regrets." Jack felt a fierce surge of inspiration. Yes. There's still so much left to write. What about those places you dreamed of going? Those adventures you wanted to live? His heart raced as he imagined the possibilities. A flicker of fire ignited in his father's expression. "You really think it's possible?" "Absolutely," Jack answered, his spirit lifting. "Let us turn those unfinished stories into new adventures. We can write them as a family, together." For a moment, they all sat in silence, the echoes of possibilities swirling among them. And just as hope began to weave its threads through the air, a heavy weight crashed down. The phone rang again, piercing through their fragile moment. Jack's heart dropped. "Do you think?" He hesitated, the fear creeping back in. What if it's someone from the past? His father's expression hardened, a furnace of conflicting emotions. "Right now, it doesn't matter. What matters is us. Our story." But the phone continued to ring, relentless and insistent. The air thickened with tension, jarring them from the moment, and Jack felt a chill run down his spine. There was real fear in his father's eyes, and Jack couldn't shake the creeping dread that surrounded the unanswered call. "Shouldn't we, maybe answer?" Maria suggested tentatively, glancing from Jack to their father. "No." Jack blurted out, his voice shaky. "Not until we're ready." The ringing echoed on, an intrusive reminder of the world outside and the unresolved past, clawing at the edges of their burgeoning hope. Jack felt the ground beneath them shifting. "Dad, what if it is something important?" he asked, uncertainty creeping into his voice. With clenched jaws, his father stared at the closed door, caught between the past and the uncharted paths before them. "Let us decide together," he finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Which story do we want to answer?" The question hung over them like a storm cloud, threatening to burst. What lay on the other side of that door? Would they venture into the unknown or stay safe in their newly found connection? Silence enveloped them, the persistence of the ringing phone thrumming in the air like a living entity, taunting them. Jack's heart thudded wildly, the weight of his father's world pressing against him. With every chime, doubts clawed at his resolve. "What if it's bad news?" Maria whispered, her grip tightening around Jack's fingers. He knew she felt it too, the unease, the fear of uncovering something that could shatter their fragile hope. Jack looked at his father, who remained rooted, his face a mixture of longing and trepidation. "Please, Dad," Jack said. "What do we do?" His father's gaze flickered from the door to the page he had opened, memories overshadowing the hopeful light they had shared moments before. In that instant, Jack saw a man torn between two worlds, one of open possibilities and the other a trap of specters from the past. "I just need to know if we're ready," he finally murmured. "Ready for what?" Jack pressed, desperation inching its way into his voice. "To keep living in shadows? Or to face whatever this is, together?" The phone rang once more, relentless in its demand. Jack took a breath, feeling the heat from Maria's hand seeping into him like a warm fire on a cold night. He couldn't let fear dictate their path. "Let us answer it," he urged. "We can only go forward, right? Maybe we can just." His father started, but Jack interrupted him. "No. If it's something that needs addressing, let us tackle it. We've faced so much already, this is just one more thing. Together." His father hesitated, the tension in his shoulders easing ever so slightly. Finally, with a reluctant nod, he reached for the phone. The ringing stopped abruptly, leaving an echo of silence in its place. The air was electric, charged with the anticipation of discovery. "Hello?" he spoke, his voice steady but low. Jack held his breath, feeling Maria's heartbeat echo in his ears, entranced by this pivotal moment. A muffled voice came through the receiver, each word clear enough to cut through the thick air. "Mr. Thompson. It's been too long. We need to talk." Every face in the room shifted at that moment. Jack's father visibly paled, the color draining from his face as if confronted by a ghost. Jack hardly noticed the grip on his hand loosen as his father stepped back, retreating into the shadows of his past. "What do you mean?" his father asked, suddenly defensive, yet something deeper lay beneath his tone, a flicker of fear that gnawed at Jack. "Your choices have consequences, decisions binding family and dreams. They can't be ignored." The voice was haunting, reverberating with the weight of old mistakes. Jack exchanged worried glances with Maria. She looked frightened, as if they had crossed a line they couldn't uncross. "Dad, who is that?" Jack asked, his heart racing even faster than before. His father lowered the phone, but the tension in his eyes had returned, heavy and unsettling. "Someone from my past, someone I thought I left behind," he stammered, pain etched into every word. "Then let us face it," Maria encouraged, her voice a beacon of light. "Whatever they want, we'll deal with it together." But Jack's father shook his head, fear and regret swirling in his gaze. "This might be more than we can handle, Jack. No. We can handle it," Jack insisted, feeling a surge of defiance rise within him. "This is our moment. We can choose how this story goes. We can reset the narrative." Tension hung in the air like a taut wire, raw nerves pulsing. Jack felt the urge to leap forward, to grab the phone and demand answers. He wanted to unearth whatever spell had been cast over their family, to confront the shadows that loomed large. But would they even have the strength to confront the truth? The weight of unanswered questions pressed down on them, leaving Jack with the nagging feeling that once they pulled this thread, the whole tapestry might unravel. "Should I call back?" his father murmured, the cracking of his voice betraying the uncertainty that rolled through the room. Before Jack could respond, the phone slipped from his father's grip, falling to the table. The decision hung. Would they dive into the unknown or retreat back to the safety of placid words? The door held its breath, the specter of their past on the other side, waiting. Jack felt the ground shift beneath him. Would they find strength in confronting their demons or be consumed by them? He didn't know, but he felt they were on the cusp of something monumental. Where would it lead them next? The phone lay silent now, its sudden drop echoing like thunder in the tense room. Jack felt the air thicken, filled with fears that swirled like smoke around them. He looked at his father, whose face had twisted into a mask of disbelief. Jack's heart pounded. This wasn't just another conversation, it felt like the waves of change were crashing down, threatening to pull them under. "Dad, you have to say something." "Who is this person?" Jack pressed, his voice steady but urgent. He could feel Maria's eyes on him, an unspoken agreement in her gaze. They had to tackle this head-on. His father's lips parted, but only silence emerged. After a heartbeat, he turned his gaze to the window, as if hoping the view outside could offer him some clarity. It's someone I thought I could leave behind," he finally admitted, the words coming slowly, like a confession. "Thought? You mean you weren't sure?" Jack felt a mix of anger and concern. This person, whoever they are, they seem to have a grip on you, on us. Maria stepped closer, the warmth of her presence soothing yet powerful. "Whatever it is, we can work through it. Together. Remember, we promised each other that we'd face everything as a unit." His father trembled slightly, a crack appearing in his stoic facade. "You don't know what kind of mess this is," he murmured, almost to himself. "No, but we can learn," Jack replied firmly, crossing the space between them, putting a hand on his father's shoulder. "I'm not afraid of the truth. I refuse to run from it. Not anymore." Suddenly, the phone rang again, its shrill tones slicing through the air. In that chaotic moment, Jack saw what it did to his father. It was like staring into the face of a storm. The man before him was a tidal wave held back by the flimsiest of boundaries. "You have to answer it. You owe it to yourself, to us," Jack said, urging him on, unwilling to let fear keep them shackled. His father hesitated, but then he nodded, summoning a flicker of resolve. Reaching for the phone again, he took a deep breath and picked it up. Hello, the word barely left his lips before the voice on the other end took precedence, resonating with emotion. Every word seemed to shake him to his core, like echoes of a life he'd long tried to bury. I thought you wouldn't answer, Charles, the voice said, a dark velvet wrapped around steel. It's time we talked about your past. And how it's been affecting your family, their future. Jack's breath caught. He watched as his father's face morphed through a spectrum of emotions: shock, rage, guilt. It was as if a door, long sealed, had been flung open. What are you talking about? Jack's father barked back, but even to Jack, it sounded feeble. You know what I'm talking about. The secrets, the betrayals. They hang over you like a shadow, and they will not go away until you confront them. Jack exchanged a glance with Maria. They were both suspended in disbelief. This was more than they anticipated. Was it really possible that their entire reality could shift with just a few words? Dad, Jack whispered, stepping closer, feeling the weight of the world balance precariously on their shoulders. Do you see now? Maria interjected, her voice strong. This is bigger than any of us. His father dropped the phone again, the sound echoing even louder this time. No, I can't. This can't be happening. I never wanted this for you. Neither did we, Jack shot back, emotion igniting a fire in his chest. But we can't ignore it. Whatever you've been trying to escape, it's here. The door loomed behind them, almost mocking. The shadows it held were shifting, waiting for the chance to envelop them whole. Would they let it? Jack reached for his father, bridging the gap. Let us hold on to each other. Whatever comes next, we'll face it as a family. His father's breath hitched. The storm was still brewing inside him, but underneath that chaos was a flicker of acceptance, a willingness to confront the inevitable. As he finally steadied himself, a flicker of determination ignited in his eyes. Okay. You're right. We'll talk. Jack could feel a rush of hope, battling against the darkness, pushing it back just a little further. But hidden truths, those could bring light or darkness, depending on how they faced them. The phone stilled, but the silence that followed was filled with fierce anticipation. With one step towards the unknown, Jack knew they were about to dive into something that would change them forever. What awaited them on the other side of honesty? Jack had no idea, yet he couldn't help but feel that every answer would tread dangerously close to a truth that might shatter everything they thought they knew. The tension hung thick, palpable as they gathered around the coffee table, its surface cluttered with remnants of their shared life. Jack's heart raced. The call had reopened wounds that hadn't just been bandaged, they had been buried under layers of avoidance and silence. Yet, there was a shift in the air, a collective determination that glimmered amidst the anxiety. Dad, tell us what is going on. We can't help if you don't share what you're facing, Jack urged, shifting between fear and resolve. He could sense the storm still swirling inside his father, but the flicker of resolve that ignited moments ago sat heavily in the air, beckoning for clarity. His father swallowed hard, visibly battling with inner demons. It's complicated. I made choices that hurt people, that hurt your mother. I thought they were behind me. I wanted to protect you both from what I did, he confessed, his voice breaking. Jack exchanged another glance with Maria. They were in this together, no matter how messy things got. But those choices are still affecting us, aren't they? We deserve to know what happened, Jack said gently. I didn't want you to carry this weight. There's a fear that you might blame me. His father's eyes glistened, a storm brewing dangerously behind them. Maria stepped in, her voice steady but soft. Blame doesn't come into play. We just want to understand. You're not alone in this, Charles. You're not alone anymore. Who is this person? Jack pressed, the anticipation tangling in his gut. Every unanswered question expanded into more uncertainties. He could almost hear the echo of untold stories in the muted breaths held in the room. His father rubbed the back of his neck, clearly struggling. Her name is Clara. She was from a long time ago, a different life. Our paths crossed when I thought I was escaping the ghost of my past, but I brought it back. A chill ran through Jack. What do you mean, escaping? For a moment, it felt like the air had crystallized, quelling the chaos swirling around them. The truth was about to break through. Was he ready to hear what lay on the other side? I married your mother to build a new life, one without the chaos and heartbreak I associated with Clara. But Clara, she never really left me. I tried to shut that door, but she dug her way back in, Charles said, his tone heavy with weight. Why now? Why does she even matter? Maria's question hung tight like a string pulled on a bough, ready to snap. Because she is sick. She reached out, she claims she needs closure. And, possibly, I owe her that, he confessed, casting his gaze downward, unable to meet their eyes. Jack fought the rising tide of emotions. Closure? For what? After everything? You owe it to us to put this past behind you. The hurt surged up, and with each pulse, he felt the creeping dread of uncertainty whispering in his ear. His father struggled with the turmoil etched on his face, the weight of it all sending shudders through his body. But she was part of me, Jack. A part one believed was lost. I never meant to hurt you. I thought I could safeguard our new life from the ruin of the past. Jack took a shaky breath, trying to grasp the enormity of the words. So, what happens now? Are you going to meet her? I don't know. His father replied, emotion laden in each syllable. Maria stepped beside Jack, squeezing his hand for solidarity. Their world teetered on a precipice now, balancing on the edge of betrayal and enlightenment. All those unasked questions, was this the moment for answers or simply another layer of confusion? He felt like they had opened Pandora's box. The question loomed larger than life. The phone lay still on the table, the silence around them filling with unresolved tension. Was it too late to turn back? Jack sensed the shifting depths of the conversation, each revelation a turn in their family's fate. Together? He uttered softly, hoping his father could see their way forward. His father nodded slowly, but there was a flicker of fear still lurking in his gaze. Jack could feel it too, a sense of uncertainty unfolding in the space between them. Could they really face this as a family? With everything on the line, he hoped their ties were sturdy enough to pull them through. As they prepared to face a past that threatened their future, a new question emerged, drawing them deeper into uncertainty. Would this realization rebuild their family's foundation or shatter it entirely? Only time would reveal the answer. The room was still, a suffocating quiet settling like a blanket over them. Jack could feel the frost of his father's words chilling him, but he also sensed something else behind the fear, a flicker of vulnerability. It was uncomfortable, raw, but there was something profound about the honesty hanging in the air. He exhaled sharply, trying to gather his racing thoughts. What do you think Clara wants? Closure? Or something more? As those words fell from his lips, he felt the weight of them. Closure implied an ending, something that could never really be resolved. It was an invitation to revisit a painful past, and Jack wasn't sure if he was ready for that. Maria looked at Jack, her expression a mirror of his unease. What if this meeting opens old wounds? What if it tears our family apart? Or what if it brings healing? Jack replied, the words spilling out before he thought through them. Maybe understanding who she is will help us understand you and ourselves. His father sighed deeply. I've thought about all of that. But the guilt of my past decisions gnaws at me. I want to make things right, not just for Clara, but for you and your mother too. Dad, Jack interjected gently, making things right isn't about going back. It's about moving forward. You're here with us now. We're a team, right? The corner of Charles's mouth turned up slightly, but it was fleeting. You don't understand, Jack. Clara was my first love. She held a part of my heart that I thought I had buried. I can't help but wonder, am I still tangled in that old love? Is it fair to your mom, to you guys? Maria stepped in with fierce tenderness. Nothing is fair in this situation, Mr. Kowalski. But what matters is how we handle it now. We can't change the past, but we can shape the future. What could be more important than that? Jack nodded, his pulse quickening as he spoke. How does Mom fit into this? Does she know what you're thinking? Does she understand that Clara is back in the picture? I haven't told her yet, Charles admitted, his voice strained. I feared it would break her. You need to tell her, Jack insisted. She deserves to know the truth. All of it. His father's expression darkened. What if it breaks her? She has been through so much already. I don't want to add to her pain. But Dad, Jack pushed back, standing firm in his resolve. Isn't hiding it just another way of hurting her? It's not just about you and Clara, it's about Mom as well. She needs to have a say in this. Silence dripped slowly back into the room. Jack watched as his father wrestled with this new layer of guilt, paler than before. The idea that their family could fracture under the weight of buried truths loomed larger now, and Jack could still feel how their world turned on this axis. Fine, I'll talk to her, Charles relented at last, a heavy weight settling in the silence that followed. But I don't know how she'll react. I don't know if I'll survive this. What does surviving even mean anymore? Jack whispered, the question echoing louder than the fear that filled his chest. When we face the truth, we can either break apart or come back together stronger. But we can't hide from it. His father met his gaze, the fear still brewing but mingled now with an almost palpable hope. They would have to tread carefully through the emotional minefield that lay ahead, the meeting with Clara, the conversation with his mother, and the aftermath. They had all been shaken, but could they find a way to stand back up, hand in hand? Maybe it's time to face the music, Maria finally said, her eyes unyielding. Whatever the consequences, let us face them together. Jack felt his strength hone in on that shared resolve. They were in this together, no matter the storm ahead. A sharp ring broke the silence suddenly, the phone on the table vibrating with life. Jack's heart lurched as he glanced at it, uncertain whether this was a message waiting to deliver more chaos or a call that could usher in their long-awaited truth. Who is it? He asked, his voice thick with trepidation. The three of them stared at that phone. The weight of the moment hanging in the air like fog. What news awaited? What choices would this call force them to make next? As the phone continued to ring, it felt like the beating of a drum, each chime a reminder of the urgency and significance of the moment. Jack stared at it, unsure who might be calling but instinctively knowing that whatever news awaited could change everything once again. Answer it. Maria said, squeezing Jack's hand as if resting upon the very precipice of their future. There was a fierce determination lighting her eyes. His father's hand trembled slightly as he reached for the phone, anxiety flickering across his face. This might be Clara, he whispered, hesitation hung heavy in the air. What if then we face it? Now. Jack urged, the resolve burning within him. Whatever was coming, they had to unite against it. He needed to stand at his father's side, even if facing Clara would unravel every hidden thread in their history. With a deep breath, his father picked up the phone and pressed it to his ear. Hello. Silence loomed, but he was met only with the quiet crackle of anticipation. Jack held his breath, the tension thick like syrup. Charles, is that you? The voice on the other end was familiar, yet foreign, filled with the pang of longing and regret. This was not just a phone call, it was a thread pulling at the foundation of their world. Yes, it's me, his father replied, voice steady yet cracking under the weight of unspoken emotions. You wanted to talk. Yes, I need to see you, to discuss what we left behind. It's about your family. The intention behind the words was laced with both sadness and urgency. Jack's stomach churned. This is too much, he thought, but he kept his gaze steady on his father. They had come so far. Would this be the moment that everything unraveled? Or perhaps, would it sew them closer together? Please, Clara. I have a family to think about now, Charles said, his brow furrowing deeper. You can't just pick up and expect everything to fall back into place. Jack watched as the tension finally crinkled his father's brows, racing thoughts flickering behind his eyes. Who was the man on the phone to put their family on trial? Your family deserves to know the truth, the voice responded, sorrow mixing with resolve. I can't just walk away from the past like it never happened. You know that. There was a pause, thick with memories of what once was and what could never be. I deserve closure too. Charlie's eyes darted around the room, seeking answers in the shadows that danced against the walls. Jack felt the swell of resentment bubbling within him, a boiling force urging him to wrest control of the conversation. Dad, you need to tell her what your answer is. What are you going to do? He stepped forward, snapping the delicate thread of the past. I want to hear what you have to say, his father said, his voice ragged. Jack held the air between them, the past tying them together, but now he needed to decide what path to take. This wasn't just about Clara anymore. This was about their family, about the stories they shared. Charles hesitated, then finally nodded. Fine, I will meet you. But this is not just about us anymore. It's about what's left of my family. I will tell you about the choices I made. But be prepared. What choices? You can't drop something like that and walk away. Jack's voice hardened as apprehension flared within him, a guardian instinct roaring to life. I've already apologized to you, Jack. I did what I thought was right at the time. I thought I was protecting you. The old fight drifted through his words, a man driven by guilt and regret, clinging to a sense of loyalty forged from silence. Then include us in this. Jack insisted, his heart hammering against his chest. We deserve to understand who we are, not just the shadows of your past and the chains of your confinement. The tension crackled in the air, and for a brief moment, the voice on the other end quieted as if reflecting on the weight of truth. All right. No more hiding. I'll be there. I want to see you and your family. As the call ended, a powerful silence engulfed them all. Fear and hope tangled in a complex web, wrapping around Jack's heart. The air shimmered with uncertainty and possibility. Dad, Jack started, searching his father's face for answers, but he was met only with a mixture of anguish and relief. I can't undo the past, Charlie said finally, his voice hoarse, but maybe I can learn to be transparent from here on out. I owe my family that much. Jack nodded, something inside him shifted. This is our chance, he whispered to Maria, the determination stirring their spirits. Slowly, Jack's father reached down and grabbed the loose end of his forgotten notebook. Let us begin anew, he said. Together. And with those words hanging in the air, a different kind of light seeped into the attic, filling the corners with hope. They were on the precipice of something revolutionary. This was their collective moment, a call to uncover truths and share burdens. They would rewrite the narrative of their lives, revealing their tangled histories while forging ahead as a united family. As Jack watched his father turn the pages of his notebook, his heart surged with gratitude. They had faced fear, chaos, and their own shadows. They were ready to embrace the next chapter, a new beginning forged from honesty and the tender threads of love. Now, as the sun set outside, bathing the room in hues of gold and orange, Jack felt a powerful bond and unwavering determination to create a future built on the foundation of their shared past. Together, they were ready to begin again. Their dream was no longer separate ambitions chasing the shadows, it breathed in unity, transforming old wounds into a family story that echoed through the ages. Before you go, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support and be part of our amazing family. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. We want to hear from you. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey. Together, let us continue this adventure.